You see, they're matched up man-to-man, really high on the wings, told me that I look like Florian Wirtz. So I've not took the shirt off since. He's got a big Frenchman bearing down, breathing on his neck. It's world-class technique. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to The Golden Sky. I'm Tom. Today we are going to be analysing Liverpool's 4-1 win over Newcastle in the Premier League. In my opinion, our best performance of the entire season in the Prem so far. We're going to look at some clips. We're first going to go on the board and look at the tactics, because I think this game can be explained in 3 phases. Before we do that, I just want to give you an update on the hair situation. I did in fact clear with my boss today that I'm allowed to dye my hair like Ekitike, so that will be happening in a couple of weeks. There you go, I'm a man of my word. You're going to see me with bleach blonde hair in a few weeks' time. Let's get into the video. Alright, so the first thing I want to look at today is the 3 phases of this game, like I just mentioned. And this, how I've got it set up on the board, is what I believe to be sort of the first phase of the game. And that was the first half an hour or so when we really struggled, to be honest. And Newcastle were by far the better team and went ahead as a result. And this is how Newcastle set up against us in the game. So they had a front 3 of Barnes, Gordon and Elanga. They went with pure pace. Gordon as the striker. He's a good presser. They're very aggressive. They go man-to-man in the middle. You see they're matched up man-to-man. Really high on the wings. And it basically left us with a bit of a pickle trying to play out. Gordon would press the goalkeeper, Barnes would press the goalkeeper. Szoboszlai in this situation is the free player, but Lewis Hall was not afraid to step onto Szoboszlai. Dan Burn would come round, Chow would come round. They were really aggressive and we struggled to play through. We nearly got caught a few times. We were kicking the ball long with no real aim. It would go out to Gakpo. Newcastle would win the ball back. We really struggled. And that was also coupled with when Newcastle would win the ball back. Let's give it to Burn, for example. It would come out to Barnes, maybe on this wing. And Lewis Hall would just come on this overlap and Salah was not able to run with him. Or maybe just didn't want to run with him, who knows. But we struggled against that sort of setup for about half an hour or so, until not so much a tactical tweak, but more so the crowd and the state of the game, being that we were losing, willed Liverpool into attacking in a much more different sense from the goalkeeper, and we stopped trying to play out completely, to be totally honest. For the rest of the game, there were barely any instances where we passed the ball from our goalkeeper to the centre-backs. We went so direct, lots and lots and lots, and Newcastle struggled to cope with it. We brought our midfielders in towards the ball, so McAllister, Gravenberch, they were coming much closer towards the ball, so all of a sudden Newcastle had lots more players in higher up areas of the pitch. Kirk has as well also stopped going so far long, and you see already how this isolated players like Ekitike, like Gakpo, with maybe 1 defender or maybe 2 if Lewis Hall dropped back and Dan Burn will come across. And we took advantage of this. The second goal, for example, comes from Alisson playing the ball to Kirkes. Elanga is not yet ready to press him, and Kirkes just kicks the ball long into the space. Newcastle play a nice high line. We exploited it. And after we got ahead, especially once we got the 3rd goal and this direct play had sort of worked out for us, Newcastle really started to drop off. This could have been a combination of them being tired after the game in midweek against PSG, a very high intensity game. But they started to drop off and Liverpool entered the 3rd phase of the game. So that was phase 1 and 2, us not being able to play, and then us going more direct. That's phase 1 and 2. And then we entered this phase where Newcastle, all of a sudden, they stopped really pressing us so high. We didn't really ever have situations where the ball would go out for a goal kick and they could really settle on us. And all of a sudden, all of our build-up was from positions like this, where we're actually not close to our own box, we're more close to the halfway line. McAllister, Gravenberch would get in these areas, Wirtz would push up further forward. And it was easy for us, really. We weren't under so much high pressure. And we got a lot more joy, a lot more control in the game, and pushed Newcastle back. We got a lot of set pieces. But still, we managed a lot of counter-attacks, and that's where a lot of our joy came from in this game, was counter-attacks, something we really haven't been seeing, especially at Anfield in games gone by. That could be because Newcastle were willing to also press onto us, like teams such as Burnley might not do when they come to Anfield. That's a whole different story. But they're the 3 phases of the game. You're going to see those in the clips that we're going to go through. So let's get into those now, and I'll talk you through everything you need to see. Alright, so first exact clip of the game here, and we're very early on in the game, and The ball is underneath my camera with Szoboszlai, but it's not really important where the ball is right now. What's important is to look at the shape of Newcastle, and you can see what I've just drawn for you on the board there. So very high, you see them on the halfway line pushing up. Lewis Hall's with Salah, Tonali's with Wirtz. You've got Ramsey there with McAllister, Willock with Gravenberch. Gordon is ready to press. Elanga is on Kirkes. He's telling, Gordon, this ball might come to Van Dijk, it might come to the goalkeeper, which is what it does. It comes from Szoboszlai underneath my head to the goalkeeper. And we see there's no space for us. And Gordon, very, very aggressive in his press. And like we saw again in the away game, where he slide tackled Van Dijk and got the red card, he goes in full throttle here on Alisson. Doesn't hit him quite as badly, gets a yellow card, but almost wins this ball. Alisson a little bit too slow getting the ball out to Van Dijk, and Gordon presses with ferocity. He doesn't slow down when he gets near the goalkeeper. He speeds up, if anything, throws himself in, gets the yellow card. Now, immediately we switch game. This isn't a mistake. This is a clip from the preview that I showed you, and it's relevant again. If you watch the preview, I actually, sometimes I talk a bit of sense in the previews, and I pointed out this clip from Newcastle's game against PSG, where they used Gordon and the ball in behind PSG's defence to their advantage. And it's going to look very familiar in a second, so I just wanted to remind you. So here's Newcastle on the ball. Gordon pulls the centre-back in short and then spins in behind, and they knock that ball over the top for him. He's very fast. The ball can come over the top to him. He's going to win it most of the time. Move it into the box. They've got players up in support. They almost score from this situation. Now, in the Liverpool game, extremely similar situation. They have the ball on this left-hand side of the pitch after just defending. And where does the ball go? It goes immediately long over the top to Anthony Gordon, who you can't see his movement on the camera, but I'll bet you for damn sure he pulled Konate in, and then he spanned him in behind and ran like that, and the ball came over the top because he gets the run on him. And very, very similar to the PSG situation. They get players forward, Gordon swings the ball in, and if it isn't for Van Dijk intercepting this ball right here, Harvey Barnes is a tap-in. Now, you see here the problems Newcastle were causing us early on. We were under the cosh. This is phase one of the game. We were really struggling. Move on, and now you see what I talked about on the board with our play trying to build up and how we got stuck basically trying to do this against Newcastle's formation. See the front two there? Let me draw that better with Barnes and Gordon. Again, Newcastle man-to-man. This time, you see Lewis Hall really high on Szoboszlai, so he's not letting Szoboszlai be free, as he was in certain aspects when Lewis Hall was deeper with Salah. Now, Alisson can pass this ball to Konate or Van Dijk, maybe, if I can actually work the board here. Let's try that again. Konate and Van Dijk. But he knows that this is going to get pressed by Barnes or by Gordon. So, eventually the ball does come to Van Dijk. Gordon, sure enough, runs over. Van Dijk can only go back to Alisson. Gravenberch isn't really showing, nor is McAllister. You see Kirkes is quite high, Elanga's right behind him. So the ball goes back, and look at Szoboszlai's position now. He's come off of his flank into the middle to try and provide a passing option. It's not the midfielders doing this, it's Szoboszlai. Wirtz is nowhere to be seen, he's high up the pitch. This is us trying our normal sort of build-up style. Hall is still advanced, Barnes has gone with Szoboszlai, but watch what happens. As soon as Szoboszlai turns and runs away, he thinks, I can't get this ball. Barnes takes that as the trigger. He realises Liverpool have got nothing to hit here. If this ball comes to Konate, Lewis Hall, you bet your ass, would spring onto him. So Barnes springs into the goalkeeper. And now we have to kick it long. We kick it long, it goes to Gakpo. You see, look at Kirkes with Elanga. Elanga's trapped Kirkes all the way, wins this header, wins the ball, off Gakpo's header, and Newcastle regain possession of the ball. We really struggled in build-up, and it led to attacks like this for Newcastle. Trippier gets the ball. Now, you see McAllister far forward, not really protecting much. The rest of our attack here, the front four with Wirtz in their usual attacking position. But McAllister caught out here. Gordon able to receive this ball very easily from Trippier in oceans and oceans of space because McAllister has been drawn out from not really being close to the defence in build-up. And then when the ball goes long, he's followed it and we haven't won it. So he's caught out. Gordon can turn on the ball, comes over to Harvey Barnes, and you see Lewis Hall, this is very important, on that overlap again. Here's Mo Salah, nowhere near Lewis Hall. Now, this poses Szoboszlai a real problem. He can't do both. This has been a feature of when Szoboszlai goes to right back. He can't mark the overlapper and the winger. It's not possible. He has to make a decision. Obviously, he has to go with the overlap here. Barnes cuts inside, and now Gravenberch is faced with dealing with Harvey Barnes. He makes a foul here. Newcastle get a free kick. They actually hit the post. I haven't got pictures of that, but that's what happens. It was a warning sign. Move it on. Newcastle again here on the ball. We've just lost possession. Look at the position of our two midfielders. Gravenberch and McAllister here. I'm pointing out too advanced, not really in sync with the defence or the attack, trying to work their way into the game. A problem we've had a lot this season where not been able to really play through midfield, not been able to use our midfielders in the right position. A lot of times it's been too much of a problem for us. Newcastle get the ball. It's very easy to play this one into a midfielder. This time it's Willock. And we see basically what we've just seen with Gordon, but on the other side, loads and loads of space for Joe Willock to run forward with the ball. I want to again point out Lewis Hall with Mo Salah. He's actually behind Mo Salah here in this situation. That's going to be important in a second because you see on this clip, Lewis Hall has ran all the way up to the edge of the box. Mo Salah is nowhere to be seen. And again, Szoboszlai has the same problem. He can't go with both Willock and Lewis Hall. He has to choose one. Willock comes inside, plays this ball into Barnes. Now, but they get a little bit of luck here. McAllister has ran back, manages to make a little bit of a tackle, but it falls to Anthony Gordon. And he can get this shot in. It goes through Kirkes' legs and into this far post. Maybe if Kirkes had got his arms behind his back a bit quicker, he might have defended this well. Because if you know Kirkes, he defends 100% of the time with his hands behind his back. It's incredible. He must be the best defender in the world at getting his hands behind his back. Here he's a little bit late. Maybe that put him off balance. I am, of course, kidding. Good finish from Gordon, and they go 1-0 up. And it looks worrying for Liverpool at this point in time. Gordon, 2 minutes later, has another chance from a very similar situation, a little bit further wide, and manages to hit this shot. And Alisson saved it, but it could have got worse for us. But it didn't get worse. It actually got better very quickly. You see here, we don't score exactly from this particular move, but as a result of it, we do. And it's nothing crazy has happened. There's just been a few challenges in the middle, and the ball breaks out with Ekitike. You see again, Elanga's with Kirkes, and then you've got the back four with the midfielders. And you can tell that Newcastle have been caught out because all the midfielders are sprinting back into position. Gakpo's off his wing. He's acting as sort of a second striker here. This happened occasionally in the game, maybe to allow Kirkes to run forward and take this space. Gakpo wasn't always so far hugging the touchline, and it helped us here. Ekitike finds him. Gakpo shifts the ball to Salah. But I want to point out as well, look at the intent we're attacking with. Look at the speed that we're attacking with. The ball's fell to us. We haven't waited and set up for Newcastle to get back. We've actually just thrown bodies forward and attacked. And there was an interesting stat in the game, read out, that we're really, really good at night matches. I think the stat was something like we've last one of our last, it was maybe 20 odd night matches in the Premier League. That is, for me, not a coincidence, because the Anfield atmosphere in a night game, as you would expect, is just better than when it's not a night game. It just is better. The game feels grander. It's usually a bigger occasion, especially at Anfield. And we profit from it. And the crowd willed the team forward after going a goal behind. The atmosphere was fantastic. And it creates a bit of speed in our play. Anyway, the ball goes out to Salah. He tries to have a shot. It doesn't quite work out. It gets blocked. It falls to Gravenberch. And he is going to just nod this ball or help this ball on to Florian Wirtz. And then Florian Wirtz just shows everybody why he's Florian Wirtz. That's the only way you can phrase it. He shows everybody why he's Florian Wirtz and why Liverpool paid £100 million for him and why anyone who wrote this guy off, frankly, should be banned from talking about football. Because when he receives the ball here, I mean, he has the entire of Newcastle to run through. Not only does he have 5 Newcastle players right around him, but he's basically got no Liverpool players in support. The player he passes this ball to is stood 5 yards offside when he receives it. It's just brilliance, individual brilliance from Florian Wirtz in this situation. And yes, I've got my Liverpool kit on right now because at football, when I play every week at 5-a-side, I wore this Liverpool kit and 2 individual people told me that I look like Florian Wirtz. So I've not took the shirt off since, to be honest. All I want to do is look like Florian Wirtz. Soon I'm going to look like Ekitike with my haircut, but for now, we're rocking the Florian Wirtz. Look at this run. He dribbles through. Those 5 players, they've just dissipated around him like they're not even there. Trippier is on the floor. he turned him into some sort of cow or something. I don't really know what's happened. Zebra, maybe. He's on all fours all of a sudden because of Wirtz's brilliance. And how he sees this pass to Ekitike is beyond me. I don't know how he sees it, but he does. He finds him, and Ekitike somehow gets his foot to the ball. Inventive finish, just outside of the foot, sort of pokes it past Nick Pope. He actually said in his interview that this goal was his favourite of the 2 goals. And that's interesting. This is more of a instinctive striker's finish, I would say, like a real like Samuel Eto'o type goal. He's in the right area. He takes it in one touch. It's a poacher's sort of finish. It's instinctive. However, obviously we'll talk about the second goal in a minute. Most people would say that was the more impressive goal. Interesting little tidbit from the game. Another angle of Wirtz's run when he starts it. I mean, here he is. How he manages to create anything from this situation is just amazing. He has a triangle of Newcastle players around him, plus another triangle here of Newcastle players, before there's even a Liverpool player anywhere near to help him out. But he just dribbles through, so composed, feinting, wriggling his way through until he ends up in this situation. And again, how he sees this pass in that split second with Trippier crawling on his hands and knees. He doesn't just have a rush of blood and hit a shot at the goal. He finds the pass. It's brilliant. And Ekitike, jogging on the spot, puts it in the net. And then we entered the second phase of the game. That goal gave the crowd even more of a boost, and Liverpool, as a result, started to play differently. This was a goal kick, and like has been pointed out, the ball boy throws the ball to Alisson. Liverpool just go quickly. Newcastle aren't set. You see, these players here are not set the same way that they were before, where they were man-to-man so much. Liverpool have their 2 midfielders a lot deeper than what we've seen in the previous build-up that I showed you. Kirk is also a lot deeper, and he receives this ball, and he just goes direct. There's no, trying to play, and everybody gets settled, and we try and draw Newcastle on. He just goes direct. Ekitike makes a great run, taking advantage of Newcastle's high line. And from here, this is now brilliance from Hugo Ekitike. There's a little bit of tactics in this, in the fact that, we've changed our build-up style. I think that comes from the crowd, as well as maybe the manager. I don't want to discredit Arne Slot completely and say that he didn't, see this and tweak the game, but certainly it's driven from the crowd as much as anybody else. Ekitike gets on it, and now it just becomes individual brilliance. Chow squares him up, and in Malik Chow's head now, he's thinking, right, I'm a bit fucked here, to be honest. I've got Hugo Ekitike running at me. That's already a no-no if you're a defender. He thinks, what's the best thing I can do? Probably just send him on his left foot, right? That's the idea. Send him on his left foot. He doesn't kick it with his left foot very often. That's what I'll do. I'll send him down there. He backs himself, thinks, I'm quick. I know what I'm doing. It's at this point, Ekitike squares him up and thinks, sacre bleu, my friend. I'm just going to take this ball on my left foot, and I'm gonna still score with my right foot. You've given me too much respect. You've shown me too much of the pitch. It doesn't get near him. Shows him a clean pair of heels. Runs away from him. Quicker than a hiccup. Gets past him and finds a finish with his right foot from here. Toe punt into the far corner. Sort of outside the foot. Ekitike toe into the far corner. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant play. There's been comparisons to the Torres goal on his debut versus Ben Aim in this position defending, where he took the ball on his right foot and then he opened up his body and sort of outside and inside the foot curled the ball into the far post, a more orthodox finish, the Thierry Henry type finish. Now, Thierry Henry, a player Ekitike, I'm sure, has modelled his game off growing up as a young striker from France. But here, he invents his own sort of finish, toes it into the far corner, catches Pope off guard. It's a brilliant goal, and it rightly has got the plaudits that it deserves. I want to show again from a different angle here, a more bird's eye view angle of Liverpool and how we built up. You see, Newcastle are just not set the same way that they were before. They're not in that organised position. The defenders aren't quite back, and Ekitike takes advantage. He's in his own half. He's already telling Kirkers, look, I want the ball in this space. And what I think's interesting about this is look at the two managers. So first of all, look at Eddie Howe. He's pointing out, to his guys, get closer. He's saying, come on, get closer in here. How's he got the ball? How's he got so much time? Because remember before, everyone was man-to-man. No one had time on the ball. Look at our manager. It's just funny. It's not to say to pile on Slot in this game at all. I think he did well in this game. Obviously, you don't want to say Liverpool win, so that means a good managerial performance. Liverpool lose, it means a bad one. They're not always correlated, but it's just funny to point out. He's not even looking. He's not even looking at the play. Okay, the players are playing. He's having a chat with his assistants, looking at the iPad. You know, they've just got a new record on Mario Kart. That Kirkes is going to knock this ball in behind, and all of a sudden, Arne Slot's like, "Oh, we're in." And that continued into the second half, much more direct play. Now he went ahead. We did tend to enter phase 3 of the game. Newcastle gave us more respect. They got maybe a bit more tired, and we took advantage of it with more direct attacks, counter attacks. You see us here. All our players back. Gravenberch picks the ball up in the box, just empties it. But Ekitike makes a nuisance of himself, and I think he's getting fitter as well. I think he's getting fitter. He seems to be able to affect the game at a higher level for longer periods. Yes, he got brought off in this game as well after a challenge, left him on the floor, but we were winning the game 3-1 by that point, as he pointed out to the Newcastle fans as well, which was ace o'clock. But he seems to be affecting the game longer, and here he hassles the defenders, wins the ball, and look at Liverpool counter-attack. Look at the speed of the attack again. Roared on by the fans at night. It comes to Gakpo, he's in that inside striker position again, not hugging his touchline, fills the lane, comes forward with the ball, finds Mo Salah, who in turn finds Dominic Szoboszlai, who tries to curl this one into the far corner, doesn't get quite enough on it, and Nick Pope saves it. Does this goal, or this attack, look familiar to you at all? Because it should. I'm about to show you one that's exactly the same. Anyway, here we go. Gravenberch wins this ball. Again, Gravenberch, I've given him some stick this season, saying he doesn't do his defensive duties well enough sometimes. Not by lack of effort, just sometimes lack of positional sense. This time he intercepts the ball in the box. We go direct. Szoboszlai this time. Gets the ball. No messing around, no build-up. Get the ball up to Ekitike. Let's cause problems. Let's play direct. Let's not let Newcastle get set. Again, he's hassling. And at this point in time, this exact pinpoint moment in time, Dan Burn has the fear of Louis XVI in the French Revolution coursing through his veins. He's got a big Frenchman bearing down, breathing on his neck, just striking the fear of Louis right into him. If you don't know about Louis XVI, he was overthrown, okay? Ekitike overthrows Dan Burn here. This guy, he started off the game having a laugh, just laughing his head off at corners. He ended the game trying to snap our players in the corner. He'd been ram ragged, and it was ace. Ekitike here does exactly that, causes him to make a mistake like the ogre he is, and he should get his first Liverpool hat-trick in this situation. He tries to find this far corner, which, to be honest, is wide open. If he manages to shoot a bit straighter, it's wide open. But he goes with his right foot and just naturally curls the ball away from goal. It's actually quite a poor effort in the end from Ekitike, but I'll let him off for once. Maybe he'd be better going with his left foot and curling it in. Maybe he could go with his laces and, fire it the straight line. Or maybe even just toe it again. Maybe he should have done that, but he doesn't. We don't score, but it's more direct play, more good play from us. Now, this is the third goal. It's Malik Chow gives the ball away. We weren't really pressing too high, but we were a little bit. You see, we've not got loads of players committed forward to a press, but Gakpo wins the ball nonetheless. And now you're going to see a very deja vu looking attack. Gakpo's the one bringing the ball forward. This time he gives it to Florian Wirtz. And Wirtz, this is what I've talked about in videos before, has what's called pauser, right? I don't like to use words that are kind of these modern day football terms all that often, but this is what it is. It's a Spanish word, and it's a innate ability to know the right time to release the ball. It's not something that can be learned. It's just innate. It's within a player or not. And the reason why it's a Spanish term is because a lot of Spanish players think Pedri, think the likes of Pedro over the years. Yeah, Messi, I know he's not Spanish, Argentinian, same sort of cut from the same cloth. Busquets, obviously, Xavi, and Iniesta, they all have pauser. They know when to release the ball. And the reason why I'm talking about this is he just draws Dan Burn out, just waits for Lewis Hall to get back set, and now is the right time to release this ball to Salah. Dan Burn has to scramble back in position. Everyone's scrambling over. See, Burns forgot completely about Wirtz. He's running back to his position. Salah uses the ball well, finds Wirtz again. It's very, very similar. I think when he just laid the ball back to Szoboszlai, we're a little bit further forward here. And Wirtz finds that extra bit of technique. And the technique in this finish is off the charts. It really, really is. I'm going to show you another picture in a minute and you can really see it. But the way he's able to take this ball on his strong foot, not letting the ball roll across his body, hitting it as it comes, as it rolls towards him, swiping his leg around his other leg to hit the ball cleanly and into the far corner, not getting too much hook on it. It's just brilliant. It's world-class technique. And any player, sorry, any pundit, any person who opened their mouth at the start of the year, do you remember how much stick this guy was getting? If you go back and you watch my videos from early in the season, any tactics videos, any ratings videos, when Wirtz admittedly wasn't playing to the level that he's playing at now, there were a lot of people back then, Liverpool fans included, Jamie Carragher was a big one, saying he needs to come out of the team. He's a problem. We can't fit him in. He's got to come out of the team. And I said, guys, if you play Florian Wirtz in the middle of the pitch, you can't possibly have problems. You can't. You can only have good things. If you remember at the start of the year, he was playing on the left. Sometimes he was on the right. Sometimes he would be in the middle, but he wouldn't always stand in the middle. He'd be going out left. He'd be going out right. Recently, you'll notice a lot more. He's just been playing number 10. It's very, very simple. Playing number 10. And we've been reaping the rewards. He's obviously settled into the league a bit more. But this, again, goal comes from him being in the middle. The assist comes from him being in the middle. He's able to go different sides of the ball, different sides of the pitch with the ball, affect the game, get on the ball. His touches are way up from the start of the season. He's so involved in games all the way through. A lot of good things we do come through him, and I know I'm waxing lyrical about him, and maybe I'm going a bit over the top, but I just want to really point out the contrast in the narrative around Florian Wirtz from the start of the season, that he was a problem, that Liverpool were going to struggle to fit him in, he wasn't adapting well, he was a flop, blah, blah, blah. And I, the whole time, hopefully portrayed to you guys to stay calm. Don't worry about Wirtz. He's the last thing we need to worry about. If he plays in his natural position, we're going to get good things from him, and we do here. And this picture just shows you the technique. I mean, his left ankle is rolled completely over to allow the balance. I mean, you can see he's stepped right across himself. He's controlled, doesn't hit it too hard. He just cushions the ball. It's brilliant. It's world-class technique that only really he has. Now, we move it on again. Another situation, a situation that we should score our fourth from. We end up getting the fourth from a corner that I'm not going to analyse. I don't tend to really look too deep into corners unless there's a glaring issue or glaring new setup from us. Nick Pope just drops the ball and Konate scores, but I am going to analyse a move before it where Gravenberch, again, giving him some credit, gets his leg right in there, affects the ball nice and aggressive, using his long range in tackles to make a tackle here. We win the ball and we're off again. Does this look similar? We've got Gakpo in the middle, driving the counter-attack. Liverpool not waiting around, getting on the counter, fully in phase 3 of the game, as I've labelled it. Newcastle just not being able to cope with us, maybe getting a bit more tired. You've not seen any build-up from us, have you? In all our attacks in this game, none of them have come from build-up with the goalkeeper. There's a reason for that. We didn't do it. In this situation, Gakpo gives the ball to Wirtz, or Wirtz sort of just takes it off him, which is honestly a good decision because you want Wirtz in this position. It's not surprising. Again, good things happen. Wirtz is in the middle. Good things happen. You've got runners around him. He finds this ball perfectly into Salah's path. Salah goes through. And just like against Marseille, he gets a finish where he tries the outside of the foot one into this corner. A bit like Ekitike, who sort of towed it into this corner, maybe with the outside of his foot a little bit. Maybe he couldn't quite get round the ball to do the Henry finish on his left foot, or the Salah finish from this side. But he misses. He hits the ball wide. It doesn't really phase Nick Pope. It goes into the side net and it wasn't dangerous. But we should have scored. This should have been another Wirtz assist. Another bit of brilliant play from us. Another good counter-attack from us. And that is going to be the last part of the game that I'm going to analyse. I do just have one more photo from this game, which is definitely worth showing, though. And it's this one, which is just maybe my favourite photo of the whole season so far. Hang it in the Louvre. Nick Pope, like a kid in Asda, I've already said this on the ratings, crawling down the aisles like he's lost his mum, crawling down the aisles like a 7-foot baby, doesn't know where his mum's gone, doesn't know where the trolley is. He's found a toy, he's crawling after it, he can't get it. Look at his face. It's an absolute golden photo, and the perfect way to end today's tactical video. Alright guys, I'm going to do it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy it, and if you did, let's hit that 30 like mark again by clicking that like button. We've been hitting it on every video recently, so let's hit it again. Might even be time for me to up the like target, who knows. Let's hit it again and show me that we can hit it every single video. We are trying to hit 500 subscribers as well, so if you are new around here and you did enjoy today's video, please do subscribe to the channel and help me get to 500 subscribers. Like I said at the start of the video, if you are new and you don't know what I'm talking about, In the ratings a few videos ago, I said that if the video got 50 likes, I would dye my hair like Wirtz Ekitike. I can confirm my boss is okay with me doing such a thing, so I will unbelievably be doing that. I have to book in and all that stuff, so it will be in about 2 weeks' time. You will see me with blonde hair, and I might even have a shaved new haircut going on. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tune in, make sure you see that one. Who knows what it's going to look like, but it should be a laugh for all of you guys. Podcast listeners, you'll obviously have to come and see that on YouTube, but if you did listen on the podcast today, thank you very much for doing so. 5-star rating and reviews, all that good stuff, you know what to do. I hope you did enjoy. Guys, I'll be back on Wednesday for a hopefully really interesting video for you all. Jeremy Jacquet signed for Liverpool today, or signed in the summer, but medical today. Will be signing for us. I'm going to do a video that hopefully should come out on Wednesday telling you everything you need to know about Jeremy Jacquet. So hopefully that's a really exciting one for you. But just give me some time to make it. I want to make sure it's worth your while. Hence why it will come out on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but I'm hoping a Wednesday sort of 8 PM should be good for that video. So look forward to that one. I'll speak to you then. And then obviously it'll be preview on Friday as normal. Hope you have a good rest of your week, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Goodbye.